Hello and welcome. You are listening to The Hello You Show. I'm your host, Jessica Rice, and the founder of Jessica Rice Coaching. This show is for ambitious and visionary-minded women leaders and entrepreneurs ready to uplevel their impact and establish their personal brand and unique voice. It's time, ladies, to make our voices heard. Say hello again to the real you. Today, I'm so excited to talk with you about a topic that I find near and dear, as most topics that I talk about, which is how do you set up your mind for success? Now, it is so crucial. It is so important that we start to recognize those thoughts that go on in our mind. And I know I've spoken in the past about the lies that we tell ourselves. And I think it's even more crucial that we think about all the different negative thoughts that can come in and where the root cause of those is. Where does it stem from? So, when you're wanting to step out and become more visible and create greater impact in your life, in your profession, in your business, it's incredibly important that we start to recognize all of the things that are coming around in the back burner of our mind, because that is what enables us to step forward authentically. If we're discounting ourselves, we're not going to shine. We're going to make ourselves smaller. And another piece that's really important is really framing each situation. So often we can become consumed with negative emotions, things that tend to bog our minds down or consume us in such a way where we struggle to get past it. And I'm not sure if you've ever experienced that in your own career or profession before, where someone says or does something and you are now offended. You have taken on or you've owned what they have presented, and now it's yours and you're owning it and it's consuming you. And the hardest thing that we can do is to learn to let go of that type of ownership and let others be who they want to be. But we do not need to take on the crap that they're dealing out to us, essentially. And so this is where mindset and really thinking about how you train your mind to approach solving problems differently can be so impactful and crucial and helpful for you when you're looking to move to that next level. Because what you think is what you exude. So if there's a lot of things going on and that you're stewing and brewing about, it's going to be really hard to turn right around and then present the very best of yourself if you don't learn to train your mind, train your thoughts, and really start to think about what it is that you're embodying. So I want to take that a little bit deeper in the sense that perhaps you know people who tend to be very dramatic. Maybe they take things that might be minor or small and they turn it into something really big. And it becomes this huge mountain, and it might be the smallest thing. I've had family members like that where it's like you loaded the dishwasher incorrectly and they come back and they fix it behind you and it's really minor. They're dishes. They'll get washed one way or another. Nothing's going to happen. And yet these little things start to add up and then they become big things. And the next thing you know, Mount Vesuvius is exploding and we're not really sure why or what happened or how we even got here. And this is the type of stuff that when you're wanting to move forward, become successful, and really take ownership of your career and your life, that it becomes really important that we start to not own or disown some of that behavior. And if you're surrounded by people like that, then I encourage you to really experiment with how you create boundaries for yourself. And set a precedence where you will not be consumed, where you will not respond, where you will not take ownership just because it's somebody else's emergency. And if this is something that you've experienced in your own life, I can tell you that these are learned behaviors. These are things that we are brought up with in our childhood and throughout. And if we can learn it then we can unlearn it or relearn a new approach, a new way of thinking and being wholly within ourselves so that we can step forward authentically and use our voice in a way that brings power and support and strength and encouragement rather than tearing down or being negative or looking at everything in this kind of doom and gloom sort of light. Another thing I wanted to bring up is when we focus on little things, we really lose sight of the big things. So when we have big dreams and big goals, sometimes our brain will want to focus on something small because it's really hard for us to focus on this enigma of this huge dream that seems relatively impossible, and we don't really know how we're going to get there because we've never been there before. And so we can't really imagine the steps that it requires, and it seems overwhelming. And so in those cases, our brain sometimes will want to kind of shut down and then focus on those little things. And that's where that little nitpicky stuff starts to come in. Little issues become bigger issues. Or maybe we just ignore problems altogether. Maybe we're the type of person that we just hide in a corner somewhere and we shut down. But you can't do that when you're trying to up level. You can't shut down. You have to keep moving forward and keep expanding and keep growing. So some ways that you can really think about how you do that is to imagine your end goal, but really start to imagine how you start to break that down and turn that into smaller, more tangible goals. Where are the gaps that you need to fill? What is the mindset that you need to carry? And start adopting who's that person at the end of the line. How do they think? How would they, respond or behave? What would they do to solve that problem? Not what you did now, not what you did yesterday. What would you do if you were already successful, if you were already in that role or position or in the place of leadership and impact? Would you respond in the same way? And if the answer is no, then I really want you to think about and how you challenge yourself to already embody and be that person, because you already have it inside of you. You already know what you would or wouldn't do. It's a matter of discipline and really controlling those thoughts and emotions and having yourself be your best advocate. Because if you're not advocating for yourself, no one else is going to respect you well enough to advocate for you. So creating those boundaries of your thought, your intentions, your emotions is so critical for moving forward and how you up level in your life, in your career, and your business. So I urge you today, if you can challenge yourself to really think about what are these root thoughts that I'm having? How are they impacting me? Am I quick to respond? And am I even aware of some of the negativity that might be floating around in my mind? And how can I put a stop to that? Asking yourself these questions can help you really think about what it is that you need to do so that you can move forward and that you can create this line in the sand that you're going to step over. And now you're actively moving into the role in which you wish to become or wish to have. I hope that you can follow me next time. I hope that this was helpful for you. I'd love to know if you have questions for me. Please, please, please send me a message. I'd love, love, love to hear from you in the sense of how is this impactful for you? What questions do you have? And what types of things do you want to hear about in order to help yourself up level and grow within your career or your business? You can follow me on all the social media channels or stay tuned on the Hello You Show through Spotify, Apple, YouTube. And I would love to hear from you and what it is that you are most curious about so that you can become successful and succeeding in your own life and your own career and your own business. So thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you next time.